My name is Victor Frankenstein, and this is my life in drawing. Enjoy! So, I was born in Geneva a pretty long time ago. My parents were very wealthy, and I lived a pretty nice life, if I may say so myself. Mom was great, Dad was great, everything was just amazing. When I was born, it was like being born into a utopia. And then my parents adopted Elizabeth when I was a child, and with her, I had the most amazing childhood ever. She was like a sister and a friend to me, all in the same thing. She was perfect, and we would hang out all the time, constantly. But then my mother got sick, and she died, and that kind of changed my life forever, and I don't think I'll ever get over that, but that'll be noticeable later in my story. But she died when I was very young. And I also had my friend Henry to hang out with, though. I met him at university when I went to Ingolstadt. There, I kind of found my niche. It was like finally finding a home. And that's what I really wanted. I found the nest that I belonged in. So I studied like crazy, and all I wanted to do was to be able to bring human life back from the dead, so that nobody would have to experience what I did when my mother died. So, after finishing a book about death, I decided to make my own little experiment. So I found a big old pile of bodies, and I kind of went at them. I started chopping at them and finding stuff. I found a great foot, I found some great heads, and I took them all back to my lab. And it was kind of like an evil scientist moment. And I started to create my monster, and it is going to be perfect. But you see, then it woke up and it kind of scared me to death, and I ran away, and I got really sick for a really long time. And I kind of forgot about the monster, let it go. But you see, then something happened. Then I got the letter. I got a letter that said that my brother William had died. And you see, at that moment, once somebody told me what happened, I knew it was my monster that killed William. I don't know why. I don't know how it knew that it was William, but it did. And then it got even worse, because they blamed one of my great friends, Justine, for the murder. Even though it wasn't her, the monster framed her somehow, with a picture or something, and I just felt terrible. The guilt, it just started to take over me. And so I took a little vacation. I packed up and I headed for the mountains. And of course, once I get to the mountains, who do I find? Well, the monster, of course. He kind of found me sitting while I was resting, and that's when he told me his entire life story. Kind of scared the crap out of me, but he started talking. He told me about how he lived in isolation, how he lived in a little pigsty of a barn where he didn't eat human food and he was neglected by the entire town. He would peer through the wooden blocks and he would watch the family inside. That's where he learned how to talk. That's how he's talking to me. And he told me how lonely he was and how he wanted a mate. So I told him I'd make him one. I felt kind of guilty. So I started on her. But when I looked out the window and I saw my monster staring at me, it kind of scared me, and I decided to kill her. And after that, the monster told me he would get revenge on me. I wasn't sure how, but I knew he'd get revenge on me somehow. And so I was taking the body of the monster out to the river to dump her and get rid of her. And on the way back, when I was sailing in, I was arrested. I don't get why, but they told me I was under arrest. And whenever I got to the courthouse, they told me that I was under arrest for the murder of my friend Henry, which was kind of ridiculous. But after that, my dad took me back home, and I married my best friend. I married Elizabeth, and it was all perfect, well, until the monster killed her, but I guess that was expected. Plot twist. So after he killed her, I went back home, and I found out my father had died from grief because of Elizabeth and all the other deaths that happened. So I made it my mission to kill the monster eventually in life. And I wound up on Walton's boat, told him my entire story. But sadly, after that, I died. But so that's the end of my life. I died. Oh well. The end. I hope you enjoyed.